Hakadosh, Boker Tov, good morning. Listen to this beautiful, inspirational idea. We say, Vayomer im yavo Esav el hamachane ha'achad v'yikau vaya machane hanisha lifleta. What does that mean? Yaakov Avinu is trying to make, we're going to say, a strategy. What is the strategy that he's playing? There might be war. So if there's going to be war, what are we going to do? If Esav is going to come and attack on one side, I'm going to separate the groups into two groups. So that way there's always a form of retreat that one of them could go. So even if one of them was hit, they still have a way out. And they are going to be freed. Okay, that's what's written in the parasha. But now the rabbis actually come and they say something like this. They say something incredible. And they say like this. Really, be'emet, we have to understand that this is in order to teach us not to fall in the trap of Esav, not to fall in the trap of our averot, of our past. What does that mean? Listen carefully. They give a beautiful mashal, a beautiful parable. He says there was a group of robbers, bandits. What do? They all plant themselves in different positions. Comes somebody into a store, one of the robbers, he grabs something and he runs. What is the natural instinct? What would you do in such a scenario? You have a store, comes the robber, grabs something and runs. What are you going to do? You're going to dart after him. But that's exactly what the robbers wanted. Because now that you go running after him to catch him, all of the rest of them, they go in the store and they clean you out. They take everything. So then what happens? You come back. Not only weren't you able to catch up to him, you come back and you're like, well, what happened here? And then everything you lost. So therefore, what the rabbis actually tell us is, what are you supposed to do? The socher, the one, he has to be smart. He has to say, kapara. I'm going to pay more attention right now. Kapara, what am I going to do? He stole, fine. But I can't run after him. Why? I can't lock up, run. Impossible. I'm going to be more cautious in the next time. So comes the rabbis and they say, that's the explanation here. Im yavo Esav, remember that Esav is the Yetzer Hara. If the Yetzer Hara is going to come and he's going to come to one of the camps and he's going to hit him, he won. We did an Avirah, we sinned. What are we supposed to do? Don't give up hope. Don't just come and that's it. What are we supposed to do? Pay attention to the future. Don't realize what happened in the past. Go to the future. Okay, but from now on. And the rabbis actually say this is also in Parashat Vayeshev. In Parashat Vayeshev it says, the wife of Potiphar comes and she grabs Yosef. She grabs his clothing and she says, lie down with me. He abandoned the clothing, he ran out. What does that say? The rabbis say there's a sefer called Tiferet Uziel. It says that when a person sins, the Yetzer Hara Chas v'Shalom comes and he says, there's nothing what to do with you. You're too far back. There's nothing what to do. That's it. So what happens? He grabs him with the rebellion that he did and he says, stay with me. Be with me. You're mine. So what is the Eitzah? What is the advice? Leave the clothing, run out. Whatever happened, but run away. That's it. You're not going to fall into the same trap. And that's why they comes, the rabbis, and they say that it is so important, right, for us to realize and to understand, right, when we're talking about any type of avirah, or anything that we have in front of our hands, we have to be very, very cautious. Why do we have to be very cautious? Because at the end of the day, right, we have to understand, we have to do the cheshbon nefesh 100%, but never fall into what's called marash chora, which means never fall into something which calls a depression, that now you think, you know what, I'm too far removed, I'm too far behind, I'm so far away, I've sinned so much, it's never too late. Always look forward to the future. And we could actually even add to this. Do you know it says right? When it says Vayavo Abaita La'asot Melachto, he comes to the house, Yosef HaTzadik comes to the house to do his work, and the Targum says B'kitvech ushbeneh. The Onkelos translates it is to do his accounts. What do you mean to do his accounts? That's exactly when the Yetzer Hara comes. When a person starts doing cheshbon nefesh, which is self-introspect, and they start saying, you know what, I have to go to Shachrit more, and I have to do more learning of the Torah, and I have to keep this more, and I have to do this more. So what happens? Right then and there, the Yetzer Hara comes. And therefore, he says we have to be very, very careful from this. And this was actually brought down already also in the big tzaddikim. They say the following. Listen to this beautiful hint to what's written in the parasha. Right? What happens is HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes, and he says as follows. He says, to Lot, make sure that when you're going to go out, when you're going to go out of Sodom, al tabit acharecha, don't look behind you. Don't look behind you. And then what happens? The wife of Lot looked behind. What happened to her? She became a pillar of salt. The rabbis say, what does it mean, al tabit acharecha? Al tabit acharecha means don't look at behind. Because many times people look behind and they say, you know what? I can't do anything. But 1 second, forget the past. Live in the future. What does that mean when we say in Kriyat Shema, in Vayomer, don't turn astray after your eyes and after your hearts? He says, what does that mean? He says, even if it happened once that you went astray against Hashem, don't go astray. Remember that you're close to Hashem. You're there. And that's why the rabbis always say, right, that a person has to understand that this is what we're dealing with in these days. I once remember going to a yeshiva for Purim once, many years ago. And I remember the yeshiva was speaking about this. Now, why was he speaking about this? Because it's a Yesod Gadol B'avodat Hashem. It's a Yesod Gadol. What does it mean Yesod Gadol? It's an important foundation in when we're serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Don't pay attention to the past. Pay attention to the future. Right? It once happened that somebody came about teshuvah to the rabbi, a big rabbi, and he starts telling him, look what I have, look what I did in the past. And he says, the first days are going to fall. Don't worry about it. Haikar, the main thing, is to continue going on. Continue going. He once told about teshuvah, you know what? Everything that you did on the past is on me. Now the future is on you. You know what that means? He was trying to get the message over. And that's why sometimes they say, Selach lanu avinu ki chatanu. I once heard a rabbi tell me, he went and he said, when you do Selach lanu avinu ki chatanu, do it a little bit quicker. Why? You're doing Amidah. What are you doing too quick? He says, you know why? Because all of a sudden you start thinking about your Averot. And then you say, I'm not able to do anything. And that's wrong. Because everybody has mistakes. Everybody has failures. But we live from them. We are born from them. We grow from them. If a person would always stay stuck with his failure, they will never succeed in life. But rather they continue going and they continue going, and no matter how much. And that's in essence what we're supposed to do. We have to always remember, right? The way that we're supposed to be doing is always look towards the future of what we have. And they brought a beautiful proof from the Yerushalmi. Listen to this Yerushalmi. This is something that, a lot of people, he says, look at what it is. He says there was a beautiful Yerushalmi at the end of Peah. Rabbi Yochanan and Resh Lakish, they went into a bathhouse, into Chamet Tveria, into the hot springs of Tiberias, of Tiberia. When they went in, there was a poor person that asked for them for food. And they said, listen, wait until we come out and then we're going to give you. When they came out, he was already dead. He died, right? They did. So they went and they said, listen, if we didn't have the zechut to take care of him when he was alive, at least let's have the zechut to take care of him when he passed away. So they started trying to find out, they got him a burial plot and this and that. All of a sudden they come, they take the clothing, and they're going to do a ta'ara. They're going to purify the body. What happens? Underneath his clothing, he had an entire bag of gold coins. So then they realized that this person, he had a lot of money. He was a Ramai. So then they went and they said, that's what Rabbi Avu said in the name of Rabbi Elazar. We always have to say thank you to the cheaters. He says, why? If it wasn't for the cheaters, then we would be punished. Because imagine right now, somebody asked us for tzedakah, and everybody was genuine. Everyone was bona fide. You know what would happen? If chas v'shalom we didn't give tzedakah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's going to give it to us. But now that there's cheaters, we could say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we didn't know they were true. We didn't know they were truthful people, genuine people. We thought they were cheaters. We thought they were people trying to tricksters, con artists, that they're coming, they're asking for tzedakah, and they're millionaires, right? Somebody once said, right, he once showed his bank account statement to somebody. He has more than $1 million in the bank, and he's still collecting tzedakah. So that's him, why are you collecting tzedakah? He says, no, this is my profession. His profession is to collect tzedakah. He's got more than $1 million in the bank, more than what a lot of you and I have. But what? That's his profession. That became it's a sickness. But what happened? Here he says, what's the proof from the Yerushalmi? He says, if it would be other people, they would drive themselves crazy. They wouldn't be able to live. Because of them, a poor person died. They would be pulling out their hair, going mad. They didn't know what to do. No. You know what happened? They went and they said something very simple. They said, we have to continue in life. It could be maybe we should have given him the food beforehand, 100%, whatever that you want. We made a mistake, fine, but let's continue. Let's at least try to do something good. Let's focus on the positive in the future. Forget about the past and always focus on the future. If we live for the future, nothing what's going to happen in the past will bother us because we have to grow from it. It happened. We could do teshuvah 100%. Nobody's saying not to do teshuvah, but never let that get you down. Never let you get depressed because everybody has something negative in the past. We just have to grow from it in order to continue going in the future. Bezrat Hashem, I just hope that we're able to understand now the hint that was written in the parasha, where we're supposed to understand that no, focus on the future. We want to continue growing in Bezrat Hashem, to continue growing in Torah and Yirat Shamayim. The Yetzer Hara purposely comes and he wants us to fail. He doesn't want us to do teshuvah. The reason why is because he knows every single time we do teshuvah, all our averot become mitzvot. So purposely, he's going to try to stop us. The only way that the Yetzer Hara will stop us is very simple. He's going to say that we're too far lost. We can't do teshuvah. And therefore, it's incumbent upon us to remember that the opposite. Teshuvah is always open. And we always have to do it. And one of the main factions of Bal Teshuvah is, I cannot remind him of his past. One of the main things of Bal Teshuvah is, I cannot come and put it in his face. But why? Because of what we just mentioned. Because the fact of him being a Bal Teshuvah means he wants to forget his past. Because that's the biggest secret to success in the future. Imagine right now a person comes to school and they got an F. It was their first F. If they would never be able to forget that F, they would never be able to get out of it. It's only because a person forgets their past in order to build on the future that they have a future. And that's why the secret, what the Torah is telling us is, you're right, we sinned. 100% feel remorse, feel bad for it. We have to do teshuvah. We're obligated to do teshuvah. But never get down because of it. Don't feel too depressed. 100% you feel bad. That's a remorse. You're supposed to feel bad for doing an avirah. But the second that you feel that feeling bad is having a negative effect, it's stopping you from doing teshuvah. It's stopping you from growing. Now you have to actually understand how it's opposite. So now you have to say, forget about it. Why? I'm a new entity. I'm a new entity means I start a clean slate. We have to start from new. We have to do something new. That's our mission in life.